All right, so every Friday at 3:37, an alum stops in. Well, I guess it happened this time. And his name is Sean Jacobs, and I'm not going to tell you very much because that's part of the interview. So, Sean, welcome. Have a seat.
Thank you.
We'll help you out if you need it after, all right?
There we go.
Is that pretty good?
All right, so we want some good close-up video. Good. All right, so Sean, when you were here, you were EE or CSE?
E.
EE.
Yeah.
You graduated in '05, and what did you do?
What did I do? I went to Delaware. I went to University of Delaware for grad school. I was advised by Professor Anderson to work with a specific advisor who actually had an awesome project. It's the largest solar energy research project in the world. It's $100 million. So I was working with this advisor for a few semesters, doing a project I didn't really like very much. So I was up snowboarding in Vermont, at my girlfriend's house, and I got a call. So I'm going to backtrack for a second. When I was here for 3 years, I had a part-time job at the Mullins Center. I was in charge of this blimp that would fly around during hockey and basketball games and drop little tickets on people and stuff like that. Just a part-time little gig. It was kind of fun. But when I was in Vermont, just snowboarding, having a good time, I got a call from my old boss saying the Rolling Stones were going to be in Boston. And they had a blimp of their own, a little bigger. They needed to hire someone local to fly it. So I said, okay, I can do that. I'd already graduated, and I already packed up the blimp here. I don't think anybody even does it now. So I went to Boston. I went to the Fleet Center and worked for the Rolling Stones once. And, it was a nice little gig. Just hung out and flew the little blimp around and then watched the show, took off. Didn't think anything much of it, and whatever. So I went back to grad school in the spring semester and, wrote a paper for conference proceeding. I went to Hawaii for a conference, which is pretty dope. And let's see. After that, the summer of 2010, I guess. No, 2007. 2006, I don't remember. 2006, I think. Summer 2006, I got another email from the guy who hired me for this Rolling Stones gig, and he said, "How would you like to go on tour with Roger Waters?" And I said, first thing I was like, wait, who's Roger Waters? Oh, right, the bassist of Pink Floyd. Oh, yeah, sure. So I asked my advisor, I said, advisor, do you mind if I take a semester off and go on a 6-week tour? I could either take a semester off or just do my work from around the U.S. and start the semester late and all that. And she was like, yeah, just take a semester off, take a sabbatical or whatever, and come back. And I said, okay, cool. So she was a cool advisor in that sense. And I went away, went all around North America. It was the Dark Side of the Moon tour, and maybe some of you have seen it. It was in 2006. I was in charge of a flying pig. So it was not a blimp, per se, but it was a big giant pig that would fly around during the show. So they wanted somebody regular. So yeah, I did that for 6 weeks. Came back to grad school and just did some more research on the side and back on payroll a little bit as a teaching assistant, research assistant. But the tour had asked me to continue with them to go around the world. So I convinced my advisor to take another semester off. And they were nice enough. They let me back into the school, and just continue on where I left off. And so yeah, I went to Australia, first time traveling abroad. I had no interest, in traveling really before. All my siblings traveled a lot, and I just kind of went right through school, went through college, went to grad school. Was like, okay, this is fine. And they had all traveled, and I never really been interested until suddenly I went to Australia for work. That they were just like, oh, you do that, okay. So went to Australia, New Zealand, South America, all over Middle East and Europe and Asia, and back to North America again. Tour's over. Okay, tour's over. Back to grad school. Now I'm like, okay, I got some ideas at that last conference I went to. I'm going to change my research topic altogether. So it took me an extra year to get through grad school, 3 years for a master's, but I finished it. Did my master's degree, and the topic is a little complicated, nanostructured silicon surfaces for anti-reflection and multiple exciton generation. If you have any questions on that, I can answer that too. But And I was like, okay, sweet. Now I have a master's in electrical engineering, doing solar cell manufacturing. It's a good time. Went to California, tried to get a job. It's probably the worst time possible. The economy was crap, and everybody was getting laid off. So everybody who wanted jobs, they would just go for people with experience. People with 20 years experience who's got laid off would basically get paid the same that I was expecting to get paid with a master's out of college. So they weren't hiring me, they were hiring the guy with 20 years experience. So I was like, oh, this is great. So I'm hanging out, like working at my brother's restaurant. Luckily I had that connection, just living life and having a good time in San Francisco. You don't really have to do engineering if you like engineering, just whatever works really. And then I got asked to go back on tour. So the same tour is going back out, but this time doing The Wall instead of Dark Side of the Moon. So let's see, in August we had about a month of dress rehearsals, and then we started the tour through North America until mid-December in Mexico. A few months off, went to Europe from March to July. Now I'm on another vacation until January when I go to Australia. And Australia, New Zealand, South America, and then hopefully back to North America again. It's most likely going to happen. So, yeah, you guys can see it in North America. It's a phenomenal show. It's amazing. You can find it on YouTube. And again, I'm flying the pig. It's a really mean pig this time. Tusks, and it's black and has all this graffiti on it. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm on vacation. It's pretty good. Just stopping through town because a friend's getting married in Amherst, so here I am.
Is that strange or what? Are you on LinkedIn?
I am.
And it says pig flyer?
I don't know if I've updated specifically that. I've been wanting to get business cards that say like photovoltaic specialist, pig pilot extraordinaire. I haven't quite gotten there yet. But,
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So, how in the world did you manage to be so casual about your career? I mean, most people.
Yeah, they have like this path, and they work so hard to try to get this thing, and then I feel like a lot of people get really frustrated when they don't get exactly what they expect, or they almost kill themselves in the process of getting that, which is fine. To each their own. I just, in my theory, it's like life is the path, and things can come in the way and can divert your path and change, and who cares what you're supposed to do? Nobody knows what you're supposed to do. You don't even know what you're supposed to do, but every time you have something that gets in the way of the path and there's a choice, whatever that choice, however you make that choice, I think it's the right choice, because that's the one you made. And it's only leading you down the path that you're now going on. So it doesn't matter really what happens, as long as you're happy in your choices and you don't have any regrets of what you're doing. Like, when this tour ends, maybe I'll go on another tour, because now I know a lot of people in this industry that like my work, and not just flying pigs. So just to clarify, this tour is huge. I mean, I don't know if you guys know The Wall at all, but we literally build a wall out of cardboard bricks about this big. That's 40 feet high and 240 feet across. And we have our own custom stage that has pneumatic lifts or hydraulic lifts and pneumatic stabilizers inside the wall, and the wall becomes a massive projector screen for 20,000 lumen projectors. I mean, it's a massive, it's higher than high def. So it's a phenomenal show, and it's so big that they need skilled people to work on it, to put it together, and so I know how to work with this system now. So it's like you're constantly learning things, everything, as long as you open yourself up to these opportunities. So the show is so big that I'm learning so much about it. And at first I was like, I really have a propensity toward energy efficiency and renewable energy. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I can try to figure out how to create a system to install in this industry and measure where all their energy use is going. Because there's tons of waste. It's unbelievable how much waste energy there is. And if I can then help them develop better technologies and basically make the system go down in energy usage, because once they know where the energy is being used. Anyway, that turned out not to be realistic for a number of reasons. But just constantly thinking, constantly using your engineering like intuition and like different ideas that you're having and how things function and how things work to make things better in everything you involve yourself with.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, rock and roll.
All right, thank you very much, Sean.
Blimp for the Mullen Center.
That's a good question because, I think if I went to the Mullen Center right now, I could probably find it. Because I doubt they moved it from where I put it, unless they threw it out.
He's saying the job is open. I think that's what you're saying,
yeah.
right?
So, like,
The job is open right now.
Someone?
No, you go into the blimp and fly it around during the game.
Yeah, no, like you're hired.
You gotta, because you'd have to get a tank of helium, you have to get a bunch of stuff that probably is not ready for. You want to get in touch with whoever's in charge of their,
It's a race. We're all
their advertising department. Their I forget what you call that, but because on the marketing department, on the blimp it said your campus meal plan. So it was really it was for them just to get the word out and all that. So if you get in charge of the marketer, which is usually just a recent grad from somewhere who's a relatively young person, they may not even know it exists. Just so you know. It's in one of the vomitoriums, one of the corners. In the arena, there's 4 corners. Where
I think he wants a map. I think this is a night out.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
I remember this.
It's in one of the closets on a top shelf in a brown box. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
He's gonna rip open every
I know the job's available. I'm pretty sure they still have it unless I threw it out. So it wasn't it was hockey and basketball games, maybe 4 hours of pay for $8 an hour, and. Sorry, but I think I got the pig pilot job. But it's good, it's a fun little skill to have.
I do have a question for him. What do you think you're going to be when you grow up? When you were little?
I was little.
When you first had the concept of growing up and doing something, what were you thinking it was going to be?
The only thing I remember was being a bird.
That's the answer.
But yeah, okay.
Okay, you wanted to be a bird.
Yeah.
You're close.
Yeah.
You're flying pigs.
Yeah.
Okay, you're there. All right.
Yeah.
Does it ever come up how your mother always tells you when pigs fly?
She's known about it from the beginning, so she's not been able to use that one. My grandmother always used to be like, "Oh, so you're joining the circus?" I was like, "Well, yeah, kind of."
It's kind of.
The amount we travel and live out of hotels and suitcases, I haven't had a place to live literally in a year. I have a P.O. box in San Francisco. That's it. I have stuff in storage, but not anymore in storage. Now it's in one place, luckily. But I've had stuff in storage all over the country, friends' houses and random places. It's a weird life.
You have a blog?
I do have a blog, but there's 5 posts and 20 pictures. I have so much work to do on it, but it's SeanAJacobs.com. Yeah. Part of my little vacation here is to go through a year's worth of photos. And I got hit by a car in San Francisco when I was living there, so my computer got toasted, and
You have your computer in your body?
No, it was in my pannier on my bike.
Saved his life.
Power of software, huh?
So I bought a cheap one in the meantime, and it just wasn't good enough to do all the photo editing I want to do. But now I have a nice one. I'm getting back into it. So.
Sean got me tickets to the show in Oakland.
Wait, did you go?
No.
You couldn't go. Right? I tried contacting you. You couldn't go.
Yeah, it's I have a dinner engagement.
Yeah. Well, we might be coming back to North America, and it'll be I think he said Saturday nights at baseball stadiums, outdoors. Because we're prepping our outdoor thing in South America. We're doing all scaffolding, massive.
So maybe Gillette Stadium?
Could be. I'm not sure. It'll depend on the schedule. I'll be honest.
Come to the Mullen Center.
Yeah. In Buenos Aires, we're doing 9 nights. Each night is on 60,000 people. Yeah, so
What's the biggest venue you've done?
I think that's the biggest one.
60,000.
Yeah. I think in Arnhem, in the Netherlands, it was an indoor soccer stadium. It was around 40 to 50,000. Yeah, it's just huge. But yeah, we do Saturday nights in baseball stadiums, and then during the week a few shows in arenas. So
Cool.
So yeah,
All right. I'll try not to miss it this time.
you should absolutely check it out.
All right. Thanks again.
No problem.